Home to only 56,000 people, this tiny island boasts a wealth of untapped resources that are drawing the attention of global superpowers. However, what's at stake if the world powers get their hands on these riches? It may seem hard to believe, but Greenland's economy has become the focus point of a geopolitical battle. Beneath its icy expanse lie vast deposits of something so special it could reshape industries across the globe. The stakes are high, and as the Arctic warms amid the opening of new shipping routes, the world is waking up to the hidden economic power of this remote island. So what exactly makes Greenland so valuable, and why are the world's biggest players so desperate to control it? Well, if you stick around long enough, you might find out. Let's get started.
Deep within the icy expanse of southern Greenland lies one of the world's largest untapped sources of rare earth elements.
Greenland is often portrayed as an icy, uninhabited landmass, a place where little more than snow and glaciers exist. However, beneath Greenland's frozen surface lies one of the most significant hidden treasures on planet Earth. The island sits on a gold mine that has the potential to change the trajectory of the global economy. Greenland is home to a considerable deposit of natural resources and vast untapped reserves of rare earth minerals, including neodymium, dysprosium, and lanthanum. They are essential components of the production of advanced electronics, renewable energy technologies, and military hardware. For example, neodymium is used to make the magnets that go into wind turbines and electric vehicle motors, among other technologies. So, why do these resources matter so much? In industries like technology, defense, and renewable energy, these materials are essentially irreplaceable. The rapid production of electric vehicles, for example, has created an insatiable demand for lithium and cobalt. Similarly, the geopolitical race for dominance in the renewable energy sector means that more nations and corporate giants are vying for control of these rare earth minerals. The stakes are so high that Greenland, alongside its tiny population, has become a desired prize in the global power game. While the island remains sparsely populated and its economy is small compared to other world powers, the natural wealth it possesses has caught the attention of superpowers such as the United States, Canada, China, and Russia, as these nations are all well aware of the significant potential Greenland has to offer. The United States in particular has long recognised the need for Greenland as a location for its military installations, especially with Greenland's proximity to Arctic shipping routes and Russia. But with the increasing demand for Greenland's resources, the stakes are higher than ever. Greenland's economic significance is no longer a hidden secret, but what does this mean for the future of Greenland? What happens when superpowers like the United States, China, and Russia realise just how valuable Greenland can be? The race towards controlling Greenland's wealth and resources has intensified in recent years, with the United States, China, and Russia all competing to increase their influence over the island. For each of these nations, Greenland serves as a crucial component of their broader geopolitical landscape, and there is much at stake in the competition for access to its resources. The United States, in particular, has been particularly interested in Greenland since the end of the Cold War. The US Thule Air Base, located on the northernmost point of the island, has been a critical military base since the 1950s, providing valuable monitoring and defense assets. The United States also values Greenland's strategic interest in controlling the Arctic sea lanes. With climate change constantly melting Arctic ice, new shipping lanes are likely to open up, drastically reducing the time it takes for goods to travel between Asia, Europe, and North America. The control of these routes would give the United States significant influence over global trade by 1,000 miles. In addition, the United States has been quick to recognise Greenland's potential as an energy supplier. But despite Denmark's control over much of Greenland, the United States has continued to push for increased investment in the island's natural resources. This has created significant tensions with the Danish government, which maintains a firm hold over the region's political autonomy. But as the economic stakes rise, so does American interest.
We need Greenland, very importantly, for international security. We have to have Greenland.
In faraway Eastern Europe, China's involvement in rare earth mining and ice-breaking activities across Greenland, through its large-scale Project Act, has been more recent but no less strategic. Additionally, through its Belt and Road Initiative, China continues to expand its global influence. China has also made investments in Greenland's infrastructure while attempting to establish a foothold in the region by funding projects related to airports, mining, and energy. The prospect of access to Greenland's rare minerals and hydrocarbons goes perfectly well with China's drive for resource dominance. As China becomes more interested in Greenland, it will not only gain access to valuable resources, but also secure key positions along the Arctic shipping route. Nevertheless, Russia's Arctic plans could pose an even bigger threat. Russia has begun to tap the potential of the Arctic. and its efforts to establish a military and economic presence there have been noticeable for many years. With vast energy reserves in the area, including oil and natural gas, Russia plans to increase its Arctic military presence. According to Putin, Moscow plans to expand its icebreaker fleet and northern port capacity in the region along the Arctic coast. With Russia's claims over parts of the Arctic, including regions near Greenland, it is becoming proof of a broader move to secure control over viable resources and assert dominance in the Arctic. The melting ice would open up new shipping lanes and opportunities for resource extraction, and Russia is eager to gain significant control over these routes as well. The competition among the United States, China, and Russia for access to Greenland's resources is intensifying. Who will emerge as the dominant power in the region, and what will the future hold for this small, resource-rich island? But first, let's take a look at what the actual controllers of this vast and largely unseen economy, Denmark, are up to. Will they give up Greenland so easily? Greenland's economic relationship with Denmark is both historically deep-rooted and very complex. Greenland, an independent territory within the Kingdom of Denmark, has long relied on Denmark's financial support for over a century. The dynamics between the two have changed significantly over the years. For several decades, Denmark has provided substantial economic support to Greenland, primarily through government funding, public services, and infrastructure development. Indeed, up to 50% of Greenland's annual budget is funded by Denmark's subsidy grants, which totaled approximately €204 million in 2023. This level of dependence means that Greenland's economic ability to function at current levels heavily depends on the continued support of its parent partner. In return, Greenland's resources, including fisheries and mineral resources, are largely dictated by Denmark's master policy. This arrangement, which maintains Greenland's stability, tends to leave much of Greenland's population with a nervous feeling that their fate is determined by decisions made thousands of miles distant in Denmark's capital. Historically, Greenland's relationship with Denmark has been characterized with an unequal distribution of power. When Denmark first took control of Greenland back in 1721, it ushered in centuries of control over Greenland's political and economic decisions. And despite gaining home rule in 1979 and later self-rule in 2009, Greenland has yet to cut its ties with Denmark in a way that fully allows it to function as an independent state. Greenland's budget remains heavily reliant on Denmark's subsidies, which makes it more difficult for the island to chart its course without approval or backing from the Danish government. The tension between Greenland's pursuit of greater autonomy and Denmark's continued control over its economic future has remained a persistent issue. In 2020, the Greenlandic government began to move towards greater self-reliance by exploring sectors such as mining, tourism, and even the development of its natural resource extraction industries. These actions were far from sufficient to sever the region completely from Denmark's financial grip. For instance, the Danish government still has the final say over much of Greenland's foreign policy and military defence, which are key components in global diplomacy. Greenland's desire to establish a stronger and more independent stance in international politics is hindered by this oversight. Additionally, Greenland's push for independence has undoubtedly complicated its relationships with the United States, China, and Russia. These nations remain at the centre of interest in Greenland's economic potential, but any official engagement will no doubt require negotiations with Denmark. This lack of independent foreign policy and its continued economic reliance on Denmark limit Greenland's ability to strike deals or partnerships that could benefit its economy and provide it with greater growth opportunities. However, what would happen if Greenland were able to break free from Denmark's control? As Greenland attempts to redefine its future, its geographical position is also undergoing rapid changes due to climate change. How are these changes affecting its trade routes, and what is Greenland's role within it? Let's explore how a warming Arctic is changing everything. It is no longer news that the Arctic is melting, and the environmental impact of climate change is becoming more visible and destructive with each passing year. For Greenland, this has profound consequences, as the ice sheets that cover the island are shrinking. In doing so, they are not only changing the physical landscape, but also presenting opportunities and challenges for Greenland's economic future. The thawing of the Arctic is creating a shift that could alter the way global trade operates. The rapid melting of ice in the Arctic is now making previously inaccessible areas more reachable, opening up new shipping lanes that pass through Greenland. One of the most significant changes is the rise of the Northwest Passage, which runs from the Atlantic to the Pacific across the top of the world. For years, this route was impassable due to thick ice. Whilst temperatures rise, it is beginning to open up, cutting thousands of miles of shipping routes between Europe, North America, and Asia. Indeed, this development is nothing short of revolutionary. For example, shipping from Shanghai to New York, which once took 24 days via the Panama Canal, might take just 15 days through the Arctic route. This makes the Arctic, and Greenland in particular, increasingly important for global trade and logistics. For Greenland, this presents significant economic opportunities, particularly in the shipping and logistics sectors. As Greenland positions itself as the gatekeeper to these new routes, three of the world's biggest powers now have their eyes on Greenland's strategic location as a crucial part of their economic and geopolitical strategies. These new shipping lanes alone could transform Greenland into a key player in global trade, as the island is ideally positioned to act as a hub for goods moving between continents. The strategic significance of these shifting shipping routes extends beyond mere economics. Greenland's location in the Arctic is also becoming increasingly valuable for military purposes. The United States and Russia have long competed for dominance in the Arctic and now view Greenland as a crucial military asset to possess. The island's proximity to crucial sea lanes and its potential for a strong military base will give these nations leverage over access to these routes. It will also add layers of competition and complexity to Greenland's economic future. However, it's not all positive for Greenland. The melting ice also presents some environmental challenges. As the Arctic warms, new shipping routes and resource extraction opportunities are emerging, but at the same time, the region is experiencing increasingly extreme weather patterns, rising sea levels, and environmental degradation. The risks involved in tapping into these new opportunities are substantial, and Greenland must strike a balance between its economic potential and the potential harm to its environment. These changes could also cause challenges to Greenland's local population. The island's residents, who have lived for centuries in the harsh, frozen conditions, may face a significant level of disruptions to their way of life. Greenland has experienced significant migration in recent years, with many young people leaving for better opportunities elsewhere in Europe and the Americas. The increased changes to the climate could accelerate this trend if the new economic opportunities do not benefit the local population, or if the infrastructure to support a growing economy is not adequately established. However, with the right investments in infrastructure and careful management of its natural resources, Greenland could position itself as the strongest player in the emerging Arctic economy. But as the ice melts, so too does the need for careful political and economic strategy to ensure that Greenland doesn't become a battleground between global superpowers. While Greenland's economic potential continues to evolve, its future remains closely tied to global diplomacy and political relations. How Greenland's desire for independence fits into this delicate balance, and how Denmark's political influence continues to shape Greenland's economic pathway, will be crucial as the island navigates these changes. The competition for Greenland's resources, alongside the environmental changes occurring in the Arctic, is reshaping global geopolitics in ways that few could have predicted just a few decades ago. Greenland's economic future could be the deciding factor in how power is distributed in the Arctic and beyond, making it a key area of interest for global diplomacy, energy markets, and future geopolitical strategies. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.